You guys are too soft.
We're too soft.
Yeah. Beta males, they man buns and shit. There's probably a couple man buns behind me.
How did Sean Strickland go from this?
And how did you get the nickname Tarzan?
Long hair. I like to climb trees.
To this.
But you guys need to get hit by your dads a little bit more.
If it wasn't UFC, I'd probably be cooking meth in a trailer in prison, so.
You guys need to get like an alcoholic rage beating.
So I recently just not became racist. It feels really good, you guys. I got a lot of friends now.
And then you'll start learning how to have, nuts.
After scoring the upset of the year, newly crowned middleweight champion Sean Strickland is undoubtedly a champion that the UFC does not want to embrace.
Guaranteed Dana and Hunter calling is, you motherfucker, I thought you said you were going to knock him out. Now we got to put up with this guy for longer, you Izzy.
Well, when you
Guarantee
think
it.
you work on not letting, 12 pounds of gold there, letting the moment beat the only champion, I'm telling you, that would ever have done this, a brand new champion putting his belt on the floor, it really doesn't matter too.
It means absolutely nothing. I'll win, I'll lose. You'll win, you'll lose, man. As long as you guys are happy in your own life and you realize that in 5 years, when I'm an old man, 10 years, 15 years, I'm an old man, this means absolutely nothing.
You see, Strickland is not your typical fighter who conforms to the modern athlete stereotype. He is raw,
But the bottom line is, dude, our kids fucking suck.
unapologetic,
They're being raised on fucking TikTok
controversial,
and they fucking suck.
and most importantly, a brand risk.
And at some point, dude, I just want to make America better. I want to make America great again.
But beneath all the outlandish behavior, let us try to understand why he is the way he is. Sean Strickland's early upbringing was marked by tragedy. Emerging from an abusive household, he witnessed numerous traumatic events that has shaped his own self-image of one that is not worthy of a quality life. The biggest evil in his childhood was his father. There were days where domestic disputes would go very south, and Sean would have to witness his mother being hurt by him. Wanting to stand up for his mother, he swung a guitar on his father, ran off, and called the cops, just for his mother to bail him back out. When he got older, he was able to stand up for himself, and there were instances where his father would bring up thoughts of ending it, and he would simply reply with that he should do it.
My father, abusive alcoholic, drank, got into pills later on. Everything about him I hated.
Yes.
Everything about him I hated. My dad was laying in bed one day, with a 45. I fucking walked up, he was talking about and I was like, Dad, you should do it. You should
How old
fucking
were
do it. I was like 17. I was like, your wife left you, you're unemployed, you're an addict, your life sucks, like you should do it. I took put it to his head, put his hand on it, said, do it. Didn't do it. Died at 50 something of cancer and miserable.
Sean didn't have a deficit in bad role models in his childhood, as his grandfather would brainwash him with many extremist ideologies that would hinder his personal development into a proper functioning human in society. So Sean turned into an evil, hateful person who would set out his sights on minority groups and try to bring harm to them. On top of all of this, because of his antics, he would also get banned from schools, and so he had to be homeschooled, where everything became much worse. Sean couldn't stay out of street fights and would continuously find himself running in with the police, and his mother had enough and took him to an MMA gym where he would get absolutely beaten down. But this would exactly be the first time in his life where he would find his calling and the healing process would begin. Just like how Mike Tyson came from a broken home and who was also abused as a child, ended up finding boxing and customado, which changed his life and created a bright future ahead of him. And that is exactly why these types of fighters get to become world champions, because where there is light, there is an even bigger shadow. As Carl Jung once said, the tree that reaches heaven has its roots in hell. Turning his life around, Strickland would go pro in 2008 and would finally make his debut in the UFC in 2014. Along the way, he would rack up an impressive unbeaten streak of 15 wins, and during this time, he tried to be a new man with a squeaky clean image of that of a respectable man. However, inside, Sean Strickland felt like he was a fraud and an imposter. He said that deep down at that time, he still felt like white trash, and in 2021, he had enough of the pretending and he finally went savage mode.
Dude, from like the age of like birth to, I don't know, 14, 15,
I was like this white trash, like angry kid. So the moment I started fighting, I was like, man, I don't want to be that guy. Like, I want to go be like fancy. I want to wear a suit, want to have hair. Like, I want to get all, you know, like I want to be a better version of myself. So anyways, I grow my hair out long. I go to welterweight, and then I get my motorcycle accident, and then I just kind of realize I'm a white trash loser, you know, minus the race part.
And that was also when the real Sean Strickland came out. After having a decent run at the welterweight division, Sean Strickland would finally move up and find his groove at the middleweight division.
And that was the best thing about fighting for me is, like, I would just be in the garage where all these parties and were taking place, and I would just be in the garage, smacking the back, bop, 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 bop. And then, like, I didn't fit in, so, like, it was really just a way for, oh, Sean's not weird, he's a fighter. Sean's not a weirdo that doesn't know how to talk to people, he's a fighter.
Right. And that gave you your identity.
It gave me my identity. I mean,
But after having a motorcycle accident that would have him sidelined for 2 years, he came back, looking sharper, faster, and stronger than ever before. Utilizing arguably the best jab in the division, he would be able to pick his opponents apart from a distance, take them to the deep waters, and drown them with a stellar cardio. Having an unbeaten run at the middleweight division, Strickland would unfortunately run into a heavy hitter in Alex Pereira and would find himself on the tail end of a brutal knockout, followed by a controversial split decision loss to Jared Cannonier. But after the Pereira and Adesanya saga ended and Dricus du Plessis pulled out of the fight landed in the lap of Sean Strickland, and he was one of the biggest underdogs going into any championship fight. Displaying one of the best championship performances where he shot down the highly intelligent Adesanya and made him look slow, one-dimensional, and simply exposed him. The moment he got the world title strapped around his waist, it felt like a real-life Rocky moment. The purest form of a human triumph was on full display, and we couldn't help but feel captivated by it, motivated by it. Through all the filth and anger, Sean Strickland somehow had found meaning in his life and transformed who he was. And he did so without having fear anymore. He also didn't fear judgment anymore. He simply became one with himself. That is also why he isn't treading a politically correct line of being. And the result of this is that many will hate him for it. However, more love him because of it. Nonetheless though, we can't help but be captivated by his presence, and this newfound status as champion will get to the heads of many fighters. But for Strickland, the reality of becoming a champion was not so glamorous after all, and that is exactly why it is not about the end destination, but rather the journey. These types of lessons are exactly what we need in today's society.
great.
Well, kind of going off of that, what in your life is going to change now as like in your regular life?
That make me happy. I actually don't know what does make me happy at times.
Sean, just down here, I know
I did like watching the blood splatter from his face, so that was kind of nice. That kind of made me a little happy.